make me hate anyone on this cast. There's a lot of evidence that he peaked in high school. They also both said that they don't believe in divorce. And yet, they broke up instantaneously? Why does he have custody if he donated sperm? Why am I nervous? Oh my god, I'm nervous. My name is Rusenica. Welcome back to my casual channel. I'm going to be talking everything Love is Blind, all of the episodes that are out now, in addition to the recaps that I have, because all the thoughts that I give on Love is Blind when I do my recaps of the episodes are like my initial thoughts. I watch the episode, I write down my thoughts, I tell YouTube, and then I upload it. And they're not like fully processed thoughts. I don't like have time to simmer on them, and this is me with my processed, summarized thoughts. My conclusion of these episodes comes down to something that Caleb Heron said. Men are evil, but women are annoying. Kind of feel like it's a little bit reflected in this season. I kind of feel like I see men having themes of evil and the women, interestingly, a little annoying. I think Hannah and Nick, maybe it's reversed. Anyway, I wanted to write down some more processed thoughts about each couple that stood out to me and just to walk through them. So we're gonna be talking Tyler and Ashley, mainly like the sperm donor situation. Then Hannah and Nik D, the producers, and a lot of people saying that these people aren't vetted well enough. I kind of have some, I think, unpopular opinions about that. Tim and Alex, because I initially was more team Tim, but I feel like I needed to sit on their whole situation. I don't think I'm on a team now, really. And then Marissa and Ramses and his just whole thing. And then Taylor and Garrett. I don't have like a problem with Taylor and Garrett. I more so just have like additional notes about the things that they've told us. Like I said, I have recaps up of all of the episodes, so if you haven't seen those, please go watch them, because that will inform me of all of my thoughts now. If you have any thoughts, please comment yours. I'm so interested in the discourse of this season. I'm also so interested as to like the fact that like, if you're watching Love is Blind and you watch recaps of other people, how many of us are just so interested in hearing other people's opinions on this season? Like, I probably follow 3 or 4 separate podcasts simply talking about this specific season, and I cannot wait to get all of their takes. Does anybody else watch Dr. Kirkonda and his recap and summary of the seasons? Because I live and die for him. Anyway, let's actually just talk about it. So Tyler and Ashley, as it relates to my theory of men are evil and women are annoying, I don't think this applies to them because Ashley's not annoying, but Tyler is evil. So, like, halfway. Well, he's not evil, but all of the things that he's giving to us are on purpose deceptive. I don't know if the children know what I look like. Oh my, like, justice for Ashley, because in this moment, I just feel this is just such a heavy, horrible injustice done to her. All she did was wanted to find a love, and then she meets this man who's like attractive, seemingly childless. You are like blatantly lying for a better perception of your situation. Just to kind of recap everything that I know about Ashley and Tyler, just that the first thing that popped up on socials was just that the grandmother of the kids that he donated sperm for, of like the couple that he's friends with, the grandmother went off on like Instagram and Facebook and said, this is like what I saw from an article, Tyler was very active in all his children's lives until a year ago when he decided to ditch them and pretend like they didn't exist, and basically about how he's a deadbeat. And then apparently the mother, one of the mothers, Bree, also mentioned that she was going to expose him because the child custody case apparently got reopened after they were done filming. Why does he have custody if he donated sperm? Why does he have custody if he donated sperm? I don't understand. It just all feels a little evil, you know what I mean? Like that, like I so badly want to believe that Tyler has a legitimate reason for lying, but like nobody ever has a legitimate reason for just blatantly being this deceitful. Just justice for Ashley, for real. This is actually so disappointing. Like, it's gonna piss me off. Pure black love with no children. What the hell? Hannah and Nik D. Wow. It took me all up until last episode to just call a spade and to just flat out be like, Hannah's just she is. The girl does not have respect for him. She has communication issues. It was hard on me because I don't like to reduce people down to things that are like very harsh like that. If it walks like a duck, oh, trigger, and it quacks like a duck. Let's call it what it is. Anyway, yeah, so I used to feel remorseful about that, but since she's on social media making fun of the situation, as well as in interviews saying that she didn't regret anything about what happened with their breakup scene, if you're not remorseful about it, I'm not remorseful about the way that I judge you, because you're saying that's 110% authentic, and those actions that we're seeing, knowing that they're not manipulated in a way that she regrets, is like, so you're just rude and disrespectful and all the things that we are actually reading you to be. Although, as much as she is getting this heat, I feel like a lot of people are really being additionally hateful on her weight, and there's a bunch of, anytime you go onto her TikTok, you can see all of the comments are flooded with like the Ozempic accusation, which I feel like really takes away criticism of her character and the things that she's showing us, and really shifts it to being from a place that's really mean-spirited and awful. As somebody who's gained unwanted weight, the idea that somebody could take you reaching your goal and being happy with the person that you are and turn it into like, oh, well, she just on Ozempic. Don't analyze her weight. Don't analyze things that, you know, like she's doing to better herself, if that's like her goal. Like, analyze her character. I hate when people do that so much. The person that she's critical on, I feel like I see a lot of people kind of being like, nah, she is critical, but at the same time, Nik D is 28 and doesn't know how to boil pasta. That's crazy. And I feel like a little bit you can see the reasons why that she is frustrated. I feel like when you are in a relationship with somebody who you feel like you maybe have more just kind of like basic life skills, you feel like a little bit more mature than, it does weigh on you. Like, that is a relatable feeling. Her communication is horrible, disgusting. But I've been seeing some discourse on TikTok talking about how Nik comes from a Cuban mother, and in Cuban households or Latino households, it's kind of customary for the person to live at home for a decent amount of time. So Nik's experience within his mother's culture is not unusual and is not something to be ashamed of. Although I personally think, like, if you're going to live at home, like, learn some real life skills so that you know how to handle yourself when you move out. But as it relates to his experience and his background, it makes sense. So Hannah, like, putting all of this heat on something that's just kind of like customary, it just kind of feels like it's so hypercritical when he probably already told you a decent amount of what you needed to know when you got out, you know? Him living at home, him kind of being like more immature, him, like, as much as I understand her frustration, I also feel like because she's had to live on her own since she was 8, I also understand her as a person. She's had to be on her own, got cut off at 18. As somebody who, like, came from parents who just could not financially support me in a lot of ways, in some ways, but not a lot of ways, it, like, makes you have a little bit of a grudge towards people who are taken care of, because it just kind of feels like it makes you a little bit bitter about the fact that you had to be independent when a lot of people don't have to shoulder that. And so then you have to take on the burden of knowing that experience for yourself, as well as passing it on to this person who just is not as progressed as you, which is, like, annoying and frustrating. But the reason that we hate it is just because she goes too hard and it's abusive. The reason that we're not calling it emotional abuse is because she's claiming that it's her personality. And I feel like whenever women are a little bit more aggressive, or a little bit, like, go a little bit harder, and they're kind of funnier people, like the funnier archetype, we don't really see them as threatening as a man would be. And I just feel like we need to call it what it is. Like, that's emotionally abusive, the way that she was talking to him. I would never let any of my friends be talked to that way. Okay, so next I want to talk about Katie. Katie, actually, I did not give her enough credit for talking very kindly to Nik, and she should have gotten more credit. They sat down, had constructive, kind-hearted, not mean-spirited, but kind-hearted conversation about the fact that he does put on this persona of, like, Nikki D or Rico Suave. And he does lead with that because it's like a defense mechanism. And I think that he himself said that. And so the fact that she just was able to speak to him and be very kind about it, that is a partnership. Like, that is truly somebody looking out for you. And we typically view these conversations as like, oh, it's threatening because it's past exes, it's somebody that could threaten the relationship, and we view it as like drama, when it's really just like sometimes people just want to see you grow. And I feel like she was just wanting to see him grow, and she really wanted to get something off of her chest that like stood out to her, and it was so respectful. And Hannah could never. Props to Katie, that was great. Okay, the last thing that I've written about Nikki D, this is not going to be like a pro Nikki D stance, but people are commenting on Nikki D's videos on social. Like, there are some on TikTok saying, they can never make me hate you. They can never make me hate you, Nikki D. I love you, Nikki D. We love you. We're behind you, Nikki D. Which I like. I understand the support because Hannah went so hard on him that I feel like it's only customary that some people affirm them. But even though Nikki D is in this horrible situation, they could make me hate anyone on this cast. They could even make me hate Taylor. I hate to say that. I do. We do not know these people. We don't know these people at all. I could easily, probably if Nikki D was paired with anybody else, easily hate him. To me, he kind of comes off as somebody, we know that he's immature. We know that he doesn't know how to boil pasta. There's a lot of evidence that he peaked in high school. There's a lot of evidence. So the fact that people are being like, you can never make... Yeah, you could. Yeah. The producers, I don't fault the producers for not vetting close enough, because it's like, how far do you guys want these people to investigate? I don't understand how you guys want them to treat, like, especially the Tyler situation. What are they supposed to do with the Tyler situation? Like, ask, so you got any kids? And he'll be like, nope, because he, like, I guess doesn't. But even if he said, like, yeah, like, I donated sperm, what are you gonna do further than that? He literally just is gonna say, like, yeah, I donated sperm. Are they supposed to investigate and interview the baby mama? Are they supposed to, like, go harder and then take him out the show when they catch him lying? I just kind of feel like it's on the individual when they sign up for Love is Blind and they get casted to be good people. If there's like a violent history, if somebody is at risk for something, like, yes, vet them, make sure they're not at like risk. And they might not have done a good job in vetting Danielle from past seasons, because she had a lot of like history with mental health issues. She was like just somebody who just should not have been on the show. That I understand. But with Tyler, I'm like, this man would pass a lot of like interviews. This man would pass things that like look like they need high quality, high character men. I kind of feel like it's just kind of like, what are you supposed, like, and then the Steven thing, what specifically are you looking for in the Steven thing? Are you looking for a history of like people who have ever had like a sex addiction? I feel like people just want to blame, I don't know. Also, I'm very open to being wrong about this. Let me know if you have a take that you very much believe in that contradicts with anything that I say, because I am very open to like knowing that I have blind spots and for other people to point them out. Like, I'm thoroughly entertained this season. I'm happy with people that are flawed. I'm happy to be entertained. And people are like, they don't vet. Love is Blind is so done. Kinetic content. Count your days. I don't see an issue. I'm very happy with the drama of this season. Like, do you want just like the most boring cookie cutter people that you don't want to watch? Either way, you're going to be upset. Tim and Alex, this one is very interesting. Originally, I found myself just initially being more Team Tim. And the reason, and I'm probably going to trigger the people that are like more Team Alex, because people have really strong feelings about Tim. But ever since the first fight of knowing that Alex put her hand on his mouth and seeing her apartment and all of these things, I just have I have a lot more wariness of Alex than I do Tim. That being said, I believe they're both challenged in a lot of ways and they both need therapy. However, Alex to me just showed some of her warning signs quicker than Tim did. So I think popular opinion is just that like people don't think that Alex is perfect. Like, people know that Alex is a little weird, But I think people are really going hard specifically on Tim, saying that he's cold and aggressive, which I kind of feel like aggressive. I don't feel like that was aggressive. I feel like that was like harsh, but like aggressive to me, I don't like when, especially because I feel like people see like a black man having a weak moment and like acting quickly and like just are very quick to be like aggressive, but at the same time, if you want to disagree, I'm open to that as well. They're saying that he's cold, aggressive, mean, and that he gave up too quickly. I also agree that he gave up too quickly. I don't think I went hard enough on Tim because I kind of skipped past some of his own red flags and his own behavior because Alex weirded me out a bit. But here's some of the red flags that I missed about Tim. His aversion to being affectionate. When he was talking to his parents, he was like, I don't like being touched. Do not touch me. But even before that, I think he said that like cuddling. No, after that he said like cuddling is hard. And it just seems like there are like a lot of little things that he has, like even when they were talking and she would try to like explain herself, or he'd be like, yeah, keep going. Well, yeah, no, explain yourself. Like as she was trying to explain herself. I hate being in those situations. Oh my God, drive me crazy. Oh my God. And he just has a lot of difficulty with conflict resolution, but he contrasted to that his normal day-to-day. He seems like a very chill, relaxed person, but the fact that he's like always talking about how he doesn't want to argue over little things, he's not that affectionate, he's not, willing to hear people out. I understand that. Like, there are things about Tim that contribute to the recipe for disaster. It's not just Alex herself, but to me, it's kind of like, I don't know, whenever you throw the first punch, it's like, I can't really see you on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? I think that Tim should have had a little bit of grace for the breakup conversation because he claimed to love her. He claimed to be so committed. I think they also both said that they don't believe in divorce. And yet, they broke up instantaneously. Not only did they break up instantaneously, he said, I never want to see you again. I feel like that was just a little bit like, okay, then why did you say all of these grave things about commitment if you just never want to see her again? That's wild. All that work for that. Although, Tim did post a few things that were seen, post about things that were, I guess, off camera, because he just said, like, you guys are not seeing everything. I was fed up at that point. I couldn't handle it anymore. Because he posted that, I can more so see that perspective of, I can imagine being off camera, we are not seeing their real relationship, which seems toxic and messy and weird. Like, it does not seem normal. People are pointing out that when Alex met the mother, she had her hand in her pocket when she was giving her a hug. And you might be like, oh, that's like nothing. I saw somebody comment being like, are you kidding me? You're really going that hard for that? That's weird to me. If I had my hand in my pocket and I was giving like my mother-in-law a hug, that's like, I don't know, just like be more respectful, you know what I mean? When somebody's giving you a hug, unless there's somebody that you just like, I feel like there were just signs of her being a little bit more standoffish, not interested in his life in the way that he kind of went a little bit harder. And then also just like her room being messy, that to me was just a sign that, like, I don't think that it was just her not being packed up. She had so much time to prepare for Love is Blind people to come over. I just feel like, are you not uncomfortable? I feel like that maybe reflected a little bit off of her mental health. I genuinely do. Alex and Tim, I feel like because of the series of events that happened with Alex kind of throwing the first stone, it really made me view her differently. Although I do see Tim has some really interesting red flags and bad behavior and inability to be graceful, especially because he did go back on the fact that he said he was so committed and he was so willing to be in this. He's not. Glad that they're not together. Genuinely glad that they are not together. Okay, I'm not like Team Alex. I'm not Team Tim. I think they both have a lot of things they need to work on. Truly. Marissa and Ramses, okay, when they first had the condom conversation, that the very first time when they were talking about kids, and then they said, well, what do we want to do about, like protection, because we're just being stupid, we're being dumb. And Marissa's like, I might have to talk about going on birth control with my doctor. And then she was like, I don't want to actually go on birth control with my doctor. And he was like, oh, I've never had to think about that. I've never had, guys don't have the pressure to do that. And she was like, well, here's the pressure. I'm not going on birth control. When I recapped it, I essentially said, listen, I don't want to be like an oppressive force to like women at all, like just in saying this, but at the same time, like all birth control, because I kind of feel like there is this idea that like all birth control is all like horrible hormones that are going into your body, and you just, you know, I feel like there's like such a bad rep of birth control when I feel like there's so many benefits, when that is not the point of this conversation. Like I was trying to point out, like, she doesn't have to go on like one that's going to be detrimental to her health. If she states she doesn't want to be on it, she stated that she did not want to be on it. And the whole point of that conversation, and the thing that really activated the audience, was just the fact that Ramses was not really willing to sacrifice the fact that he had put pleasure as a priority, when, you know what's really not pleasurable? Most, if not all, side effects of birth control. I know, as somebody who's been on birth control for a decent amount of time, and I have had blood clots related to birth control. I should not have criticized Marissa being like, did you really try out like all birth controls? Like, how about we try out all like condoms? Like, there's so many different types of condoms, and maybe you just haven't found your type. But the fact that he was just so quick to just be like, it has to be pleasurable for me, babe. Okay. So then now you're kind of putting pressure back on me to do something I don't want to do. For the longest time, men's pleasure has historically been a priority over women's health and pleasure. Like, it wasn't like, what about, I feel like we didn't really even hear about like her take on pleasure, or her take on like the fact that he said, you know, like, what about my pleasure? What about my health? Like, what about the fact that I don't want to be, what if she had like a horrible experience on birth control, and that is, you know, like putting her, because the only reason that I really recognize this conversation to be that problematic is because of the second conversation, when they were talking about the fact that he didn't want their intimacy issue to be a problem long term. If she was going to get sick like once a week, he didn't want it to be an issue. Like, in my head, I kind of feel like that was him saying, well, if you're just not going to have sex with me for multiple days at a time, I don't know if I can do this. Stupid. But the problem is just that the way that he was talking about it was not out of a place of just being like, let me hear you out, let me do what I can to honor the fact that you said that you didn't want to be on this. So yeah, I'm disappointed with the fact that I initially mentioned, oh, what if you try out multiple types of birth control? You could try out different types of birth control. It's like, why couldn't he just try out a bunch of different condoms? Like, and that's like a lot of people are really coming at Ramses, but like a lot of men feel the same exact way that he does. Marissa and Ramses talking in the hot tub boat, Ramses says, in relation to the wedding planning, he says, it's not that it's not important, but it's just not a priority to me. It's just not a priority to me, because Marissa is talking about going through law school, filming, and wedding planning. She's like, if I didn't bring up these things to you, do you even think that you would do? You think you'd do it? And he's like, well, no. Ramses is also the one with wedding experience, so I don't know why he's not the one stepping up. Like, he's the one who's been there and done that. Why can't he just contribute a little bit more? Marissa is the one who has much more on her plate as she's taking on more, and he's the one that's like, I just don't, like, I said it, yeah. He's selfish in a way that is very disguised as compassion. It's like disguised as something else. It's not compassion. He doesn't hide. He like hides in plain sight his selfishness. You know what I mean? Taylor and Garrett. This ends off kind of on like a good note of this video. This is the only couple that I would like to see be together, and I'm pretty sure that most of the Netflix audience would agree with me. I don't know if you've seen, but he has grown out his hair and he looks good. He was modeling in New York Fashion Week, and it's speculated that he and Taylor are still together because he probably wouldn't look that way if he was not with Taylor. It's kind of a miracle to me that this show doesn't get spoiled by multiple people just being like, yeah, I saw Taylor the other day, or Taylor and Garrett just like hanging out like in San Diego. Because it could be so easy. Like, anytime you see, like, there's so many couples and there's so many people probably within their vicinity that don't know what's gone down. in Love is Blind, but probably like just season be like, they could just post a Reddit and be like, oh, I saw Taylor and Garrett, blah, blah, blah. They're together. Like, they've been together for a year, you know? Thank God. Ugh, I'm so happy that I do not get spoilers. This is stupid, but I need to bring it up. Do you store your mustard in the pantry or the fridge? It's like the whole bread conversation. You know how some people put their bread in the fridge? Personally, like, I believe people who have the argument to be like, no, you actually need to do this thing, even though it's not common in our society, because like, he has the whole conversation about it doesn't matter if you put mustard in the fridge or the pantry, it's just a seed. It doesn't need to be in the fridge. It's like, yeah, I believe you, I do. But because we're so used to items being in the quote-unquote wrong place, I cannot accept change. I know it's probably stupidity that's holding me back from making this change, and just the lack of accepting this logic in my life, but like, I'm not putting my mustard in the pantry. I'm not putting my mustard in the pantry. I'm not putting my bread in the fridge. People that come to my apartment are going to think I'm a psychopath. I would think I'm a psycho. It just, I don't know. Something about it to me just makes me feel, it just hits me in an uncomfortable, immoral way. That's all the thoughts that I have for all of these couples. I think I maybe missed a couple or missed a couple things. If I did, comment it down below. And just a reminder, this experiment is purely for entertainment. And although people are critical of what the producers have done, for the most part, I think it's done its job, and I like this season. Although I think that the weddings are kind of going to be boring, because I have a feeling Ramses is going to say no, because he's making it seem like such a deal. It's such a deal. Everything's a deal breaker. He doesn't find enjoyment out of this. And then Taylor and Garrett, they're married, bro. And then Tyler and Ashley, I think they're gonna say yes, which is gonna suck. It's gonna suck for Ashley. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever time of day it is, and that's literally it. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or